No, wait. Okay, now you're live.
I'd like to call this meeting to order for the County Board of Elections on Tuesday, August the 19th at 2 p.m. I'd like to begin the meeting by, would you please stand and say the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will start with the roll call, and please state if you have a conflict of interest.
Martin Carpenter, no conflict.
Susan T. Adams, no conflict.
Holly Powell, no conflict.
Fred Kennedy, no conflict.
We have a paper that you should all have seen, you visiting public, you should have seen as you came in reference to disruptive behavior. So should there be any questions, if you haven't had an opportunity to read that, please do so. Has anyone signed up for public comment?
No, wait.
There being no public comment, we will go into the reading of the minutes presented by our secretary.
Madam Chair, that's not your microphone a little closer, it's not picking up on there.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is this better, sir?
It's picking up now.
You said
Just present. The minutes are here. You have had an opportunity to read the minutes previously. They were sent out in all corrections.
all corrections that were made were done, then we sent them back, and I'm glad you checked. That's why I had to put the final mark on there, and then I sent it to the board. If the board didn't see anything, then it's just for the board to approve or make changes or anything of that nature.
Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. And now the precinct judge appointments, which is the real meat of the meeting today. Is that good with you, or is that not
Well,
good?
I'm just going to introduce Nicholas McCraw. He is going to begin with our precinct appointments. So just give background history. We do reach out to everyone that was either a judge or an assistant judge to see if they were willing to do it again. We did have to make some changes and rearrangements, but Nicholas will go through all of that. We did send the list out. I did show the board what the final list was, our recommendation, then what the Democratic Party recommendation was. Mr. Beto from the Republican Party, he was pretty happy with what we had. He just wanted us to kind of get more Republicans, which we were waiting to hear back from some people, because people were still like out and about traveling. And so I'm going to call Nick, come up and present what the final recommendation was with the merging of everything that was given to us by each of the parties.
All right, everyone has their list of recommendations, should be in the packet. Do you want to give out each individual one? How would the board like to proceed with it?
Does anybody have any particular way that they would like to present it?
Hi, Bob. I'll just recall that when we went through this process in 2023, we did go precinct by precinct. That's just a reminder of the historical precedent. I don't have a particular argument in favor of doing that, but I do have essentially on behalf of, just because of a chair of the Fort County Democratic Party on the paper. In a conversation I had with her this morning, I do have a concern about one precinct that I'll pass on from her when that's appropriate.
We'll just have precinct then. First one, Ben Salem. We've got Brian Bridge as chief judge, Diane Chisholm as assistant judge, and Diane Sutton as assistant judge. All three of them very well versed. Brian is a little bit of a newcomer, but is up and coming quickly and ready to step into the position. Okay. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what changes were written in that precinct. Brian Bridge is unaffiliated. Diane Chisholm is a Democrat. Diane Sutton is Republican. So one of each.
That's on our paper.
Yep.
But there were no changes from either of the parties. They accepted that list total.
So we're going to vote on each precinct individually.
It's up to you.
However the board wants to do it.
I say we just let's go through all of them, and then if there's one that we want.
I hope we can do that.
I know for certain there'll be conversation around East Aberdeen. If I may make a suggestion, we should go ahead and check them off as we can as we get to these. That way we can address whatever needs to be done. So like Ben Salem, if we're on agreement with it, we could vote on that.
Can I just ask a couple questions?
Sure.
Can you tell us whether any of these people have served as judge or chief judge before?
So Diane Sutton and Diane Chisholm have both served as judges before. Diane Sutton has served as a chief judge before. Brian Bridge has filled in as a judge position as need be on an emergency basis, but he is not serving the chief judge capacity that he has been trained for.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to do a motion to?
So you would prefer that we do this one at a time?
I think in the course of getting everything accomplished, that's probably going to be the better way of doing it, just my opinion.
Then I move we approve the judges for Ben Salem.
I second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right. In Cameron, we have for chief judge, Linda Gore, who is unaffiliated, Cynthia Sutton, who is unaffiliated, and Edna Lee Overman, who is a Republican. The chief judge there, Carolyn Marsh, did call it quits after about 30 some elections with us after this past one. So it was time to re-up, and we had another assistant judge who did family issues can no longer work with us as well. So there will be 2 new judges coming into Cameron.
And which one is the experience?
Linda Gore is the one that has stayed. She was next to go into that position.
The Cameron people have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept this?
So moved.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right, in Carthage, these pretty much remain the same. Kim Gibson as chief judge. She's a Republican. Assistant judge Alan McKinnon, who's unaffiliated. The one that is changing out in this is Alice Ann Hyman, who is a registered Democrat. She was in the last appointment cycle a judge in Eastwood, but is trying to work closer to home. She was in Carthage precinct on the other side of town.
These names have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, DHR, Deep River High Falls, and Ritter. Chief judge there, Patricia May, who's a registered Republican. Assistant judge, Donna Garner Murphy, who's a Republican. Assistant judge, Gail Simmons, who is unaffiliated. Donna Garner Murphy used to be the chief judge up there. She has to step back from that role. Patricia has agreed to take it. Both of them have been working that area steadily. Gail has been with us for about 4 elections now.
And the Gail Simmons has experience?
Yes, ma'am. She's been with us about 4 elections now.
In the precincts where there's no Democrat serving, there weren't any offered by the Democratic Party.
So, like in this case here with DHR, Gail Simmons is registered unaffiliated, but if you look at her voter record, she votes Democratic. So if y'all seen the numbers on the website, they're steadily reducing out of each party going to unaffiliated. So it's harder and harder to get that signifier beside each one.
But I guess my question is, did the Democratic Party offer any Democratic
The recommendation
candidates?
from the Democratic Party wasn't scale
Okay,
settings.
thank you.
And you have that in your folder, the
Yeah,
recommendation.
the recommendations are in there.
Okay, sorry.
The names for DHR have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, East Aberdeen. The chief judge there, Sonia Jones, has been the chief judge there for quite a while, staying in place. Dale Crumpton is another judge who's been there for quite a bit. They lost one judge. We are recommending to move up Mike Skarbinski, who's registered unaffiliated into East Aberdeen. The Democratic Party did submit two names for this. One was Elise Zlateri. The other one was a Jamon Bailey. My reasoning for not using those, one of the candidates or one of the people they put up does have a criminal history with offenses that I wouldn't put a regular poll worker in with. The other one works with Southern Pines Land Housing and Trust, which could be a possible conflict if we decide to use that location for early voting again.
I'm sorry. It would be a conflict if you decide to use it for early voting again.
Correct.
But we're appointing, we've already established our early voting site for this cycle.
For this one, yes. These judges will serve for 2 years, though.
Right, but however, would it be possible, if that, a situation arises, and I'll hold off on my opinion about whether it would or not based on our previous experience, would it not be possible at that point for Ms. Zalatieri to recuse herself or to resign from her position as judge and to replace them? I don't know if that particular incident has occurred before or something analogous to that, but certainly we have replaced judges who were unable to continue for their entire 2-year term.
We have replaced them in the past who were unable to continue. I personally don't think it'd be, in my opinion, don't think it'd be smart of us to appoint somebody who we know there's a very good possibility we're going to have to replace.
We have 3 people that appear to be qualified, willing to do it, and it meets the requirement of not having 3 of the same party. I guess I'm not seeing an issue right now.
Do all of the 3 have experience as poll workers?
Yes, ma'am. Sonia Jones has worked 12 elections in total. Dale Crumpton has worked 22. Mike Skarbinski has been with us for 5.
And
Neither of the recommendations from the Democratic Party have any experience with us.
And can I just interject, as we know, one of the issues that we are facing, and what I do agree, is that we're looking for another site to use for an early voting site. And we hopefully, we did use the Southern Pine Trust at one time. It was a decent site, but there was some issues. Hopefully they have fixed some of those things so that we may be able to use it again. And then there is another site further out past Aberdeen, which we're hoping not to have to go that far out. But we do have to keep in mind of other sites, it's gonna be necessary and needed. So even though we have one now, we don't know what the primary or the general is gonna hold, especially with some of these House bills that I've seen coming about, where after every 10,000 voters, I have to have an early voting site if that bill passes. So that would make almost 3 for Moore County definitely. And so we have to keep those type of things in our review when it comes to looking in the near future.
And these 3 people that you currently have down, they all have experience and we have never had any issues.
That is correct. So Sonia has been a chief judge for at least 5 years, probably 4 years at that location. She was a chief judge previously across the street at West Aberdeen, been a judge for quite a bit. Dell has been there, like I said, 22 elections. She's been a judge for a while. Mike is the newest one with only having 5 elections with us. However, he is eager to learn it, comes in every chance he can, never had any issues with him coming to training, anything we've asked of him.
Is that their precinct?
Yes, ma'am, that is their precinct, all 3 of them.
I'm sorry, Bob, I lost you.
I just got back and said, yes, I logged up again, so I'm not
Okay.
sure that.
Sorry.
Anyway, here we go.
The names have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion?
I apologize for holding it up, particularly, I might have missed something when I lost the connection. Tawana, could you remind us, about the procedure for the requirements for approval of judges? Is that, a vote that must be unanimous?
Yes.
All right, well,
I believe it does have to be.
She's going to look at the statute, I think.
For the judges, I believe it has to be unanimous.
And I believe if eventually we cannot come to an agreement, it goes to the state and the state decides.
No, not for this one.
We have another option down the road, but at some point, if we can't agree,
Well, this
Okay,
is
I found
one
it.
of the precincts that we're actually is involved in with the municipal. It's in my download, that's what I'm looking for. Because for that one speaks about early vote, it doesn't have to be unanimous, but for judges, it has to be unanimous.
What did you find, Bob?
Okay. Making sure this.
So one of our colleagues reviewing that. I haven't been able to find this again in my email, but I thought I remembered one of your messages had a line that, concerning this, the schedule and required date for approving these appointments. Is there a provision for, additional days for, discussion or review beyond this meeting, or is this the meeting at which we must make approval for, make final approval for the chief judges and judges for this upcoming election?
This meeting, because after the approval for the judges and the assistant judges, then you go into the appointment for early voting. And so so that's why this is set by general statute for this meeting to be done.
Did you find it?
Let me just read this one section from 163-41, paragraph C. The chairman of each political party in the county, where possible, shall recommend 2 registered voters in each precinct who are otherwise qualified, are residents of the precinct, have good moral character, and are able to read and write, for appointment as chief judge in the precinct. And he shall also recommend, where possible, the same number of similarly qualified voters for appointment as judges of election in that precinct. If such recommendations are received by the County Board of Elections no later than the 5th day preceding the date on which appointments are to be made, it must make precinct appointments from the names of those recommended. And then it goes on to say if only one name is submitted.
So it appears one of the 2 doesn't meet all those requirements.
Well,
The one
who,
the second,
Nick said one of them had run-ins with the law.
oh no, I'm not talking about those.
that's the precinct.
Who did the Republican Party recommend?
The Republican Party did not submit any names.
So,
They were fine with the names that we had. So we received 2 names for each advocate. But one name, we're doing a background check.
I get that.
Okay,
Okay.
so then we only
But
have one.
it seems to me that since the Republican Party didn't nominate any of the 3 that are on our list, the Democratic Party nominated 2, one of whom we could argue is not somebody we would want to appoint. It seems to me that we need to appoint the other one. Now, I understand you're talking about that person could have a conflict down the road if we decide to use a particular location, but that, I don't think that should prevent us from appointing them at this
So
point
who
in
do you want to
time.
take out then? Because for that person, you would have to take out an experienced person and put somebody else in.
Well, I would say the least experienced person.
And perhaps one of that's another way, another possibility.
Well, the unaffiliated, if not the, I mean, I wouldn't propose you take out the Republican, I would propose you take out the unaffiliated.
One way to do it is the unaffiliated who is the assistant judge and keep Ms. Jones as the chief judge.
Right.
So that would be Mike.
That was Stravinsky is the one who's definitely.
Okay, so let me read the next, I haven't,
5 years.
let me read you the next paragraph. If the recommendations of the party chairs for chief judge or judge in a precinct are insufficient, the County Board of Elections, by unanimous vote of all of its members, may name to serve as chief judge or judge in that precinct registered voters in that precinct who are not recommended by the party chairs. So I would say it's going to take a unanimous vote to keep Mike.
Well, would you make a motion to replace Mike with Zarwati?
Let's hold on just for a second, and then just sort of a point of order. There's a motion on the floor that's been made and seconded, and we're in the middle of discussion. So I guess, Craig, if one possibility would be to offer an amendment to that motion, or we can, a neater way might be to vote on the motion that's on the floor and follow that with another motion.
Well, Bob, hold on, let me see what's your suggestion?
Since there is a motion on the floor and it has had a second and it has had discussion, we need to call for the vote.
And the motion is to approve the 3 names.
Sorry, names.
Yes.
So the motion has been made, and I do agree, it has to be unanimous vote. I was nodding my head when it was first asked. A motion has been made and seconded. There has been discussion. Is there any further discussion on this motion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye, accepting the 3 names presented.
Aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor, please signify by saying nay.
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 Motion failed.
And so now I recommend that we come back to this later. Let's go through all these and get the easy ones out of the way. And at the end, we can go with the hard ones. So we come back to East Aberdeen, we go now to East Knollwood, and we try and get through the easy ones, and then we do the knockdown, drag out at the end with however many precincts are in that category.
You already know the ones they want to drop, so.
And we already know who we want to propose.
No, it's not gonna be that hard because it's, in the statute that party chair submitted the name and that they do not have to have any experience by the statute, so.
So basically they're saying if they want to drop mine and to add.
Now, how much experience does this person they want to put in place have working at the polls?
Ms. Swatiri?
Yeah.
It's not working as a practice.
Okay, so we're now putting somebody in that has no experience working at the polls, and we're going to make them a judge. I have a lot of issues with that. I'm sorry.
We'll just let her know because we're projected, we can always contact the judges to make sure that they're aware of all the requirements and all the training. But that was the switch from Mr. Meyer.
So I need a motion from someone.
I make a motion that we switch, Mike Skolbinsky with Elise Swateri.
A motion has been made. Do I hear a second? A motion has been made and seconded to accept Mrs. Slattery and
Can I make a comment? And again, and I think we went over these rules just yesterday. There's no requirement for any experience. If a party chair submits a name, we have to accept that name, regardless of whether it's our party chair, their party chair. And then kind of bring it in new blood, you need new people to learn. I mean, we've got people here that have been through 20 plus years of elections.
But shouldn't these people actually have worked at the polls before in some capacity?
It's not a requirement. There's no, and that's in the statute.
It just have to be a good moral character.
Otherwise qualified, which is unspecified. Residents of the precinct have
And,
good moral character, able to read and write. I mean,
and we're actually.
the threshold is really low.
The list the party chair provides supersedes what staff recommends. So if we accept the staff's recommendation, that's fine. But whatever names the party chair submits are names that we're pretty obligated to take.
a motion has been made and seconded. We have had discussion. We call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no.
Nay.
It has to be unanimous vote.
We move on to the other ones and come back to this. That's what I recommend.
Okay. Next.
Next would be East Knollwood. No changes out there. Sarah Conti, Democrat for Chief Judge. Barry Stabile, Republican for Assistant. Lydia Weaver, Republican for Assistant.
The names have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Eureka Whispering Pines, Chief Judge Kim Reagan, Registered Democrat. Assistant Judge Georgia Hughes Nelson, who is unaffiliated. Assistant Judge Anna Marie Laporte, Registered Republican.
Do Are they experienced, all of them?
They are. Kim has got 20 plus elections with us. George has been with us for 6, and Marie's been with us for 5.
The names have been presented. All those in favor, please.
Yep.
Do I, yeah, I got flustered, I'm sorry. Do we have a motion? I'm still back on, okay.
I make a motion we accept the presented names of Whisper.
I second it.
A motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Right. Eastwood, one change out there. So remaining Chief Judge, still Michael Gore, registered Republican. Assistant Judge, Michelle Horner, registered Republican. New Assistant Judge, my recommendation is Daryl Klutz, unaffiliated. He is also the recommendation from the Democratic Party.
The names have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept his name? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying.
Go ahead. Did you say that Daryl Klutz has never worked?
No, ma'am. No. I said he was nominated by the Democratic Party, but
Right.
Daryl has been with us. Daryl's been with us for 5 elections.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
A motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor of accepting these names, please signify by saying aye.
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 Little River, Chief Judge Cindy Duckett, who has been the Chief Judge out there, registered Republican. Assistant Judge Sandra Myers, registered Democrat. She's been Assistant Judge out there. The change would be an Assistant Judge for Timothy Gooden, who's registered unaffiliated. He is the nomination as well from the Democratic Party.
The names have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, North Southern Pines. Recommending the same ones that we previously had out there, stay out there. So Patrick Smithson, unaffiliated as Chief Judge. Marty Ways, Republican Assistant Judge. Philip Layton as unaffiliated for another Assistant Judge. The Democratic Party nominated Patrick Smithson, who is the Chief Judge out there. They also nominated a Jessica Wells to work in that precinct. I will jumping ahead a little bit. If you look down to Pine Dean on your list, I have Miss Wells tentatively out there. The team that is in North Southern Pines does a phenomenal job. They've been working together for quite a while. They knock everything out. We are missing a Democratic judge in Pine Dean. So that was why I made that swap on their list as far as where we can use certain
It
things.
says Catherine Shermer is a Democrat.
She is, but
So is Jessica, is just not on there. She was.
Correct, so-
Mayor of the precinct.
in
Not
Pine,
also the vice precinct.
correct. In Pine Dean, the recommendation from the Democratic Party had Katie Ong and Catherine Shermer on it for Pine Dean. Katie Ong is a military spouse and is within probably the next 18 months going to be moving out of the state. So she has agreed to step back to the role of just a regular assistant poll worker. So we would open up a judge slot there. Instead of us having,
That's not what the list shows.
which list?
It says Pine Dean, Kathleen is chair, chief judge.
Correct. Kathleen Ong, Chief Judge.
Carla Ann Oda, not Katie Ong.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Carla Oda.
You already lost.
What?
We don't even
Okay,
have
hang
that.
We got ourselves all confused here. Okay. Carla Otto was the one that was moving out of there. So the Democratic Party nominated her for Bass precinct. But she is the one that is moving. Not Katie Ong, that's my apologies.
What party is Jessica Wells?
She's Democratic.
You don't have a D.
I'm sorry. I'm mistaken.
It's on this, I'm looking at their recommendation.
Yeah, that is a clear part on mine.
Yeah, but they recommended unaffiliated as well. Okay, let's go back. So what precinct does Jessica Wells reside in?
She resides,
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure who's talking.
you're right, Bob.
What,
No, you're in the room, I'll try to be quiet.
So she resides in North Southern Pines.
So we are looking at the names for the North Southern Pines of Smithson, Ways, and Layton.
Yes, ma'am.
We have the names presented. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
I'm still confused.
Let me run through it again, see if I
Yeah,
can make myself
do
clear.
North Southern
Yeah,
Pines.
okay. So the Democratic Party presented, Patrick Smithson and Jessica Wells. Patrick Smithson's already the chief judge out there. No issues. They do a great job. Ms. Wells is nominated for that precinct. However, in Pine Dean precinct, which is 2 miles down the road from it, there is a opening for a judge there. One of the judges there, Ms. Otta, who was recommended for the Bass precinct by the Democratic Party, is the one that will be moving shortly. So if we move Ms. Wells to Pine Dean, that locks in those 3 judges without anybody moving, sir. Still using her just in a different precinct.
Right. But in North Southern Pines, there's now on your list 2 unaffiliated and a Republican. In Pine Dean, there's an unaffiliated and 2 Dems.
Correct.
So Jessica Wells,
Actually, it looks like 3 because Kathleen is nominated for Pine Dean.
But wasn't Smithson recommended by the Democrat Party? Then I guess I understand what the issue is.
It's just a matter of moving one.
No, I meant that what the problem would be with Smithson,
I don't have it, Brian Smith.
then what are you, God, the 3 names seem to be good. I know you're worried about, we get down to Pine Dean, but
Well, I'm just saying, if we're looking to balance the precincts and we have somebody and we're moving her out of her own precinct where she was nominated by the Democratic Party, and again, going back to what the nominations mean, and the Republicans didn't make any nominations.
the Democrats nominated Smithson.
I'm sorry?
The Democrats nominated Smithson, so it's like having a Democrat in there.
I know, but they also they're supposed to nominate 2.
but the thing is,
And they
Ryan
did.
Ways, that's his precinct, right?
Philip Layton, that is his precinct, yes.
So everybody's in their precinct where they need to be. It's just the fact that because we're short in a precinct, we still took the Democratic nomination and just put her in a precinct.
And is she willing to serve there?
I don't know. I tried, just like you said, we try to balance this out as best we can. It is almost impossible to do it for every precinct, just because of the way the numbers fall.
Then I guess the question is, I'm looking at Pine Dean, are there any Republicans that have been a poll worker that you could put in as a judge down there?
None, and not to sound mean in any way, but none that are not experienced enough that I would recommend to them.
Well, we're looking at that up here in East Aberdeen with somebody that has 0 experience and looking at maybe putting them in. So I guess I'm not sure what the problem is.
So where's Mr.
What
Wise?
are you asking, Marty?
Well, I'm looking, we get down to Pine Dean, then if there's any Republican that's worked at the polls in Pine Dean, then we ought to put their name in there.
Your chair did not nominate
It doesn't matter. We're looking, if you were talking about balancing, you can still, the director can still do that. Let's make a decision on North Southern
I
Pines.
make a motion that we accept the recommendations of the staff for North Southern Pines.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, Pine Bluff, no changes out there. Pam Ways, registered Republican for Chief Judge. Gerald Schwartz, registered Republican Assistant Judge. Julia Kane, registered Democrat for Assistant Judge. Julia Kane was the nomination from the Democratic Party.
The names have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, aye. Apologies.
Dean?
Dean, so we would have Kathleen Ong, who has been filling in as chief judge. The one that was appointed last term has some family stuff come up. Last couple elections, she was not able to do it. So Katie Ong stepped up to be that chief judge. She was an assistant. Catherine Shermer has been an assistant judge there. Jessica Wells is that nomination from the Democratic Party from the North Southern Mountains.
The names have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just in general, as I've said before, I really don't care on the judges, Democrat, Republican affiliated, as long as they're qualified and do a good job to make sure we have a very fair, well-run election. That's all I'm interested in. And that we're all 26 precincts.
A motion has been made and seconded. Discussion has been held. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Pinehurst A1, recommendation is Chief Judge Jennifer Tomlin, registered Republican. Lee Bozich, registered Democrat, assistant judge. Rosa Recio, registered Democrat, as assistant judge. On the list from the Democratic Party, both Ms. Bozich and Ms. Recio were their nominees.
The names for Pinehurst A1 have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Pinehurst A2, recommendation of Bob Hamilton, registered Republican, for chief judge, keeping Jim O'Brien, unaffiliated, as assistant judge, and Wayne Hicks, registered Republican, as assistant judge. The chief judge we had out there hung it up after 30-some elections with us as well. She had been training Mr. Hamilton to step into the chief judge position. I asked both Mr. O'Brien and Mr. Hicks if either one of those wanted to step up. Neither of them wanted it.
The names have been presented for Pinehurst A2. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Pinehurst B1, one change out there, so it's keeping Chief Judge Bobby McLaughlin, who's registered Democrat, Assistant Judge Michael Harrell, who's registered Democrat, and moving up Paula Smith, who's been working with us as a poll worker, up to the role of Assistant Judge. She's registered Republican. Both Ms. McLaughlin and Mr. Harrell were both the Democratic nominees. And I don't think I said it on the previous one, but an A2, Jim O'Brien was the nominee from the Democratic Party.
The names for Pinehurst B1 have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Pinehurst B2, same thing, only replacing one as far as recommendations. Chief Judge Greg Linville has been out there for a while. He's registered Republican. Assistant Judge Gail Harrell, registered Democrat. And then the newest one would be David Herring, who has been working as an assistant for 3 elections now, who's unaffiliated, moving him up to the assistant judge position. Nominees from the Democratic Party were Gail Harrell and Mr. Herring.
The names have been presented for Pinehurst B2. Do I hear a motion to accept these names as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Pinehurst C, no changes to be made. So Chief Judge Jim Mannix, registered Republican. Assistant Judge Cheryl Fry, registered Democrat. Assistant Judge Jerry Carpenter, registered Democrat. Both Ms. Fry and Mr. Carpenter were the nominees from the Democratic Party.
I'll make a motion to accept the names presented for Pinehurst C.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Robbins, Chief Judge Ruby Manus, Helen Manus, registered Republican. Assistant Judge Mary Diane White, registered unaffiliated. Assistant Judge Gracie Tink Bond, registered unaffiliated. Both Ms. White and Ms. Bond were the nominations from the Democratic Party.
Did they have any experience?
They've all had,
They've all-
yeah, the leases, the Chief Judge Ms. Manus has got 6, the other 2 got 11 and 12 elections vote.
I'll make a motion to accept the names as presented for Robbins precinct.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, 7 Lakes. Chief Judge Pat Lawton, registered Republican. Assistant Judge Matt Holloway, registered unaffiliated. Assistant Judge Yvonne Merrill, registered unaffiliated. Both Ms. Merrill and Mr. Holloway were the nominations from the Democratic Party.
Names that have been presented, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, South Southern Pines, no changes from the previous. June Chavis, registered Democrat as Chief Judge. Dave Owens, registered Republican as Assistant Judge. Peggy Cable, registered Democrat as Assistant Judge. June Chavis and Peggy Cable were the nominees from the Democratic Party.
Does Ms. Chavis have any experience?
41 elections. 41 is what's registered in the system electronically. There were previous ones that are not pertinent. So I mildly qualified.
Make a motion to accept the names as presented for South Southern Pines.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm glad you didn't ask about Ms. Cable. She only has 36 elections. All right. Taylor Chalm, a little bit of change out here. The Chief Judge that was out there said that he was not doing any more after this past election. So the Assistant Judge, he wasn't Assistant Judge, Jim Koenig, registered Democrat, moving it up to Chief Judge. Cynthia Elliott was a previous Assistant Judge. She wants to stay there. Newcomer would be Roberta Manus, registered Republican. On the list for Taylortown was Mr. Koenig and Ms. Elliott.
Make a motion we approve the names as presented for Taylortown.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Since we're asking about people's experience, what's Roberta Manus?
She's been with us 2 elections now. She's pretty new to it, but she has only worked in Taylortown. She lives out in she lives in the West End area, but helped us out filling into that way we could get more staffing in the Taylortown area.
So it's not her precinct,
It is not her precinct.
but she has worked as a poll worker.
She has.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
For Bass, the Chief Judge stays the same. Sue McKenzie, registered unaffiliated. Alexander Cadell, same. She was Assistant Judge before, registered unaffiliated. The Democratic Party nominated Ms. Kathy Necton, who I put in there as an Assistant Judge.
They also nominated Carla Ott.
So Carla's the one that is moving, though. We talked about Pine Dean. She's the one that will be moving
moving with
out of state.
The names have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept the names for the Bass precinct?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Nick, can you remind us,
both Sue McKenzie and Alexander Cadell were both judges. Yes, the other judge, after everything happened with the observer sheet.
Is there any further discussion?
Were there issues at Bass regarding people being told they could vote provisional ballots?
It was reported by a separate party that there was. I talked to the judges, they said there wasn't. I'm going with my people. They're the ones that keep us running elections, because a lot of us in this office can't do all 26 precincts.
Wouldn't necessarily do that.
Any further discussion?
Question for Mark. You were in the meeting with Ron vacation. Wasn't that discussed?
Mass was discussed, and there was differences of opinion with people observing from a long distance away and assuming things were happening that it appears did not happen the way they thought they were. So we have kind of a he, she says, she says. I'm not sure we need to make any change. I could not determine if something actually was wrong done by any of the judges. There were people, I think one observer that kept going up and complaining about things going on in Bass, just almost like a constant. Did you get phone calls, Madam Director?
Yes,
One of the reasons why we had opening.
Yeah.
yes, so, and with that conversation, one of the observers that I did let, Keisha know about was constantly commenting up here, which is not something that they're supposed to do, even when I was trying to meet them before. And so they were gonna modify some things as far as with the observers with that area, because they did realize that there was some things that were going on.
Okay, and then the comment on the behavior of observers, and it looks like there are some improvements that can be instituted for that issue. But we're talking about the behavior of judges.
Yes, sir, and with the behavior of the judge, I even lost the judge due to everything. Oh, because, I'm sorry.
I
So-
can't hear Bob or you.
Okay, so due to everything that took place in that precinct, we even lost a judge. So one of the improvements was, that I'm thinking about still, of how to even do observer training myself with the observers, from the different parties after they nominate their observers to come here to do a training based off not only what the state gives them as far as training, but also to let them see, okay, what is it that you're really observing? Because like we notice in some cases, sometimes they get trained, sometimes they don't. That's just both parties sometimes. When it comes to the judges, we're going to do a class about you just knowing how to handle, people that's a little aggressive, what steps that they can take. Sometimes they may have to back away. It is a little frustrating because I have to catch myself sometimes too when you have somebody that's just kind of constantly on you when you're trying to overlook and maintain a voting place and you're responsible, and then you have to report back to me about what took place. And so there are some things that we are going to put in place, but put in place for both sides. I know that even sometimes with early voting, there was questions that observers had. And so this way, it's going to help everybody when it comes to what to expect from the observers when they're observing the precincts and what the observers need to know when they're in the precinct. So that's one thing that I am looking into as far as trying to implement for this next coming election.
Madam Director, you've been privy to all of everything, the meeting here and the comments, et cetera. Do you feel confident with these three names that have been presented for Bass?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded. Barring no further discussion. those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
West Aberdeen, Chief Judge Lori Staples, registered Democrat. She's been there. Roger Williams, registered unaffiliated. He's been assistant judge out there. New one being Miss Lucy Mayer, registered unaffiliated to the position of assistant judge.
I'll make a motion, we accept the names for West Aberdeen as presented.
So, second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I'm sorry, I should have mentioned Miss Staples and Mr. Williams are both Democratic nominees.
And Ms. Mayer has experience.
She's been with us for 2 elections now. She is hardcore into loving some elections. That's her jam.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, Westmore, chief judge up there stepped down. He even was 30+ elections as well. So moving up is Brenda Cassidy, registered Republican, to chief judge, having Shirley Brewer, registered Democrat, as assistant judge, and Mr. Keith Reeder, registered Republican, as assistant judge. Ms. Brewer was the Democratic nominee.
I'll make a motion, we accept the names as presented for the Westmore precinct and correct the spelling of Westmore to reflect WSTMOORE.
Did I miss that?
So moved with the correction.
That was off your list, yeah.
Was that all? I didn't.
Seconded with the correction.
Is it too long?
Two of us.
Oh,
We're in Moore County.
oh,
Moore.
Depends on the draw, is West Mo.
A motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, okay. So it was on the Democratic list as well, for the record. Okay. West Millwood, no changes out there. Mark Evans, registered Republican, as chief judge. Beverly Bizzle, registered Republican, as assistant judge. Diane Lawrence, registered Democrat, as assistant judge. Miss Lawrence was the nominee from the Democratic Party.
And these people all have experience?
Yes, ma'am. Those have been our judges out there.
The names have been presented. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, and then we're at West End. Chief judge there, recommendation is Ann Spong, registered Democrat. She was the nominee from the Democratic Party as well. She has been a chief judge with us, operating in Bensalem, trying to get her closer to home. She lives in Seven Lakes. Lydia Kennard, registered Republican, for assistant judge. Barry Zlotton, registered unaffiliated, as assistant judge. Both Ms. Spong and Mr. Zlotton were their nominees.
Does Jeannie Williams not work out there anymore?
Jeannie has moved to Aberdeen and requested to work closer to home. Did not, she said, if I'm a judge, great. If not, great. So she is going to be an assistant with us out there.
Wow, okay. Names have been presented for West End. Do I hear a motion to accept these names?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Now we return to the question of East Aberdeen.
So let me get a review of the bidding here in East Aberdeen. Sonia Jones, unaffiliated, was she recommended by either party?
She was not.
Okay.
She's been the chief judge out there for some time. She was not on the list.
And Mike Skarbinski wasn't recommended by either party.
That's correct.
Okay. I guess my only concern is that the party nominated 2 people, one of whom obviously has some kind of record. I don't know about the second person. I guess I would have thought there'd been more vetting before they started nominating these people. I want people that are qualified, that have got experience in there. Yes, even though the rules, I guess, say that you can put somebody that's not qualified in there as long as they meet the minimum requirement. Is that the best thing we want on election day? I guess that becomes, to me, the real question.
I'd like to make a comment, just looking through this. It appears that staff did take the recommendation on pretty much every recommendation that the Democrat Party submitted. And so looking at that, I do understand the recommendation of Mike because of experience. So, but I'm personally, if we go by the statute and law, they don't have to have experience. So I'm gonna be open either way. If our Democrat colleagues here would like to make that substitution, they're well within their means to do that. But again, it's up to you guys what you want to do.
Well, yeah, I think we can all agree that to set aside, and I don't know what was involved in vetting. Here we are. This is the meeting at which we need to decide. If we can just put aside the candidate that turned out to have a criminal record and focus on the candidate that, understandably, you made the point that your concern is that Ms. Zometeri does not have experience working at the polls. I take issue with your choice of words to say that means that she is not qualified. As Mr. Kennedy pointed out, the qualifications for serving as a judge, as articulated in the general statutes, do not make prior experience a necessary qualification for that position. So, and I think Holly has read out what are the requirements for qualification. And I'll quote Mr. Kennedy again on the opportunity to have, in addition to the very experienced judges that we've heard about, and that I'm glad that we have throughout the county, in order to have new folks play a part in the process, to learn. And a municipal election, which seems like it would be a great opportunity for somebody who is committed, and Tawana repeated that she would clarify, I imagine, with all of the candidates, remind them of what the requirements are for training, the qualifications for being a chief judge. And if somebody, it's not an easy position, but if somebody from the community wants to play an active part in elections, I think that's something that we ought to honor. And again, our preferences, I certainly would wish that Ms. Zometeri had some experience as a poll worker or something. She does not, however. She meets the requirements in the statute. That's why I supported Holly's motion when we went through this originally, and ended up that first, as you know, motion failed on a 4-1 vote.
I don't think I said that she wasn't qualified. I guess I'm looking for who's best qualified to go into these positions at this point in time. I did find it fascinating that there were probably 3 or 4 chief judges that were unaffiliated but were recommended by the Democrat Party. I find that kind of fascinating, that somehow that the party has great confidence in these unaffiliated voters, probably based on their voting records. So what are our options, Madam Director? Well, I
offense at that statement, because really what we all care about is it being free and fair.
Absolutely.
And just because you're unaffiliated versus a Democrat doesn't mean you don't care about it.
But I find it fascinating the Democrat Party has nominated all these unaffiliated as their part of their nominations. Okay, I just find that fascinating. It's okay. These people have all done a good job in the past. Madam Director,
I
if
think
we don't,
that's important. A lot of them have served many years and done a very good job. And as long as it's nonpartisan and they can, I'm fine.
if we don't agree today, what is the follow-on?
No one gets appointed. Well,
No one will be appointed in that precinct because
I believe the state board gets involved
no,
at some
they don't
point.
get involved in
Well,
precinct appointment.
it's really simple. The the party has presented a name, and it's really up to us
So,
to accept one of those.
so
names.
basically you can accept the appointment. We'll see how Ms. Elise works out. If she says it's too much, because a lot of times, people don't realize how much it is involved. Like coming to the classes, I do understand it's kind of a trick to me per se, because you're doing a municipal election, it's kind of like a little slow, and then we're gonna go right into a primary. But if she feels like it's too much, then we go back to the parties, we ask for another recommendation, then we come back if she decides to drop out, and then we just go through this whole process all over again. So that's basically what happens. So you make the you submit the recommendation. We can still keep Mr. Mike as an assistant in the precinct so he can get more experience in that precinct. Like I said, if it becomes too much for Ms. Elise and she decides this is not what I want to do, then we just go back to the recommendation process by both parties, comes before the board again, and we just nominate or suggest or recommend or whatever again, and then that's what we'll just have to do.
And I would ask for the same treatment if our party had submitted a list, that you would accept our nominations. So
Absolutely.
we're at a disadvantage.
The statute supports her being recommended.
Okay, you can call for the vote.
After the motion.
Motion.
I think we need another
We'll
motion.
need a new motion, and we'll let Holly.
I make a motion that for East Aberdeen, we appoint Sonia Jones, Chief Judge, Della Crumpton, and Elise Wateri as Assistant Judges.
Second.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion at this point that hasn't already been stated? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye with reservations.
Motion carries.
Did Bob vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did, that's it. Thanks, Craig.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dick.
we will now turn to our director for her reports.
So for the director's report, it's just to let the board know that we will be doing some renovations to the office. Right now, we're just in the process of getting bids for the work to be conducted. We had to get bids for electrical work, bids for like new carpeting, drywall, things of that nature. The work that is being done is not out of my budget, thankfully. It is out of the property management's budget, and so we would have began a little sooner, but due to one of the contractors, the electrical contractors, pricing being out of the range for the work to be done, that's the only thing that's holding us back for everything to be started. And so once they get a more feasible rate to begin to do the work, we'll have another meeting. I'll have another meeting with property management to go over everything that's going to be done. A lot of it is just more security features, creating a bigger vault area to store ballots, that one secondary door, making it more of a pass card key entrance, changing these doors to more metal heavier doors, things of that nature. Taking some of, a lot of times during election time, we have the front door open because you got poll workers coming in to put sticks in the front door, and then we got the back door open. So this way we're shifting offices where the poll workers will now be able to come through the back and go into my office, because my office will be on the back side of this office. We're going to make 2 rooms, so everything will be right in the midst of here. So we're just waiting for the bid process to end before we can start to work on the upgrades to the office.
So you're going in a smaller office.
Oh, that's not, well, I don't need that much, I don't need it bigger. Well, and my thing is because, with the work that Annie does when it comes to loading up the Unity and everything of that nature, it needs to be closer to the boardroom, where the poll workers can get to her. Really, we're taking the ball out and creating my office, but taking some of the space from my office, so we're gonna split the room. And so that was one of the things that we were looking at. Another thing is we're at 78,000 plus voters at this moment. I do see us within the next 5 years or so getting up to almost 100,000, maybe within the next 5 years. And so if we needed to bring in more people, I have nowhere to put them. And so that was one of my goals too, was to create more spacing up in the front so that we could hire more people if we needed to. So that way everyone can maximize their position a little bit better and more efficiently, and make, like I said, make the office more secure in the process.
And this is all being done by property management.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Not building the building bigger or anything like that.
No, everything is just rearranging walls in the inside to shifts and things.
Do you expect it to be done by the municipals?
No, so most of the work, probably the front half will be done probably by that time. Then once we start the municipal, we'll kind of take a pause, because I did ask property management that we don't want that type of work taking place at that time. And then after we finish with the municipal, hopefully some more work can get done, because as you know, we start filing like the first week of December, right after Thanksgiving break. We file right after December. So we go right into another election. So it's like a 3-week turnaround. So depending on how many people come and how quickly they can get it done. And I'm not that picky, so hopefully I didn't create too much of a project. It all depends. It shouldn't take that long, but we're just waiting to see once they get all the funding. And that's all I have. Yes, ma'am.
Before we depart, thank you very much. I know how hard all of this is. So we, on behalf of my fellow board members, we thank you for all the hard work you've done to put this together. It is appreciated. You too, Jamal. There being no further business, there is further business.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion has been made. Has it been seconded?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? This meeting is all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Do we want